Hello, 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 everybody. All right, we are going to get started tonight. Pop in Politics here on a Monday. We generally don't start on a Monday. We're here on Wednesday nights, but we had to come out. We had to talk about the Trump Supreme Court decision. And other things. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about all of the leftists. These people are going crazy. They're losing their minds over the Supreme Court decision that came down today. We are going to talk about that. As you guys see, I saw in some of the comments, you guys saw white rural rage is what the left is calling it. We're going to talk about that also. So again, if you guys are new to the podcast, hello, it is Monday and it's time for Pop in Politics. We are talking about the latest in hot topics, news, and entertainment. I'm KJ, along with my amazing co-host tonight. All right, we have Crystal Jenkins.
Hey, guys.
Yes, we have Shelly E.
Hi, everybody.
And if you see a new face tonight, it's not a new face. He just hasn't been on in a while. Tyrone Keys is with us tonight. He's back after a long absence. He used to come on. What was the first Wednesday of every month, Tyrone? The last Wednesday.
I think it was the last Wednesday.
Okay, last Wednesday of every month. He also has a podcast here on YouTube called Soldiers of Finance. You can find him there. And talk about your podcast before we begin, Tyrone. Tell them a little bit about what you do on Soldiers of Finance.
Oh, sure. The Soldiers of Finance channel, we're all about taking a look at finance, the economy, and how it fits in with politics. I don't care whether you think politics affects you or not. It does. After you finish with the show, go look at your pillow. It's got a regulation tab on it. Politics affects you even when you're asleep. And so we take all of that, we put it together and let you gain an understanding of how to navigate what is essentially an ever-evolving, very quickly evolving global economy so that you can prosper and build financial independence. That's what we do.
Absolutely.
So, Soldiers of Finance. Check it out.
Yes, check it out. You will not be disappointed. A lot of knowledge and information there on that channel. He does provide from a conservative perspective. So check it out. All right. So as I always say, join the conversation by leaving a comment on YouTube or Twitter. We are on Twitter tonight as well. We will check the comments periodically throughout the show. And don't just comment, subscribe. If you miss us on YouTube, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the same name, Pop and Politics. And we're on Rumble. Yes, you can find us on Rumble. We are an independent media. And if you want to support what we do, we always appreciate the donations, the super chatters. We love you guys. We certainly appreciate it. Any amount is welcome. This is it's not just a podcast. This is a movement,
For sure.
A movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that understand, we are living in urgent times and there's a target on our backs.
Yeah.
All because we choose freedom. And yet we know we must stand up against it. So let's stand together, friends, subscribe, and together we can amplify this rallying call of freedom. So definitely, if you are not subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel that builds a community amongst us all. All right. So everybody, let's set it off. We're going to get right into it.
Trump
right.
2024.
You guys know MAGA madam here. So we're going to get right into it. We're talking about the Supreme Court decision that came down this morning, put an end to the court challenges to Donald Trump's qualification for the presidency under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. It did so the day before the Super Tuesdays, which are tomorrow, primaries in Colorado and Maine, two of the states that have sought to bar Trump from the ballot. So the left has gone totally nuts about this, from Keith Olbermann, who was a former sportscaster and political commentator, calling for the Supreme Court to be dissolved. CNN's Dana Bash, who they're supposed to be fair and balanced, they are not. She came out and basically said that this was an unfortunate decision. This is the beginning of it. And then of course we have the ladies of the Spew, or you know them as the View, talking about this as well. I want to bring you guys in to get your response to this clip. This is Whoopi Goldberg talking about the decision that came down today, and then we're going to respond to her this nonsense. So take a look here. All right, here we are. And then I want to get you guys to respond. One moment.
This, and I know it's probably the right decision, but I don't like that we've normalized this man.
Yeah.
It has really irritated the poo out of me.
Yeah.
That we have normalized him and his bad behavior. I get that the law says, listen, it would be really rough and it should be the Congress that makes these decisions. And yet that's not how we've been acting. We keep saying states' laws, we keep giving people the right to make these changes, and then they make a change and they say, well, we don't want this. And everybody says, well, no, of course we shouldn't want this. But the problem is, why have we normalized it? Why is this now normal?
I think it's just so Donald Trump centric. This normalization of bad behavior. It didn't just start now, right?
The Constitution?
When Republicans, including evangelical Republicans, voted for a guy who we all heard on tape boast about sexual assault.
Yes.
Made that normal. That was the beginning of the normalization. There's so many things in his life, and certainly in his political career and as he runs, that Donald Trump has done and said that would have mandated any other.
Okay, so that's enough here.
Thank you.
So, I want to get you guys' response to this. First of all, where is this coming from? It's not even talking about the Supreme Court decision, Shelley.
Look, first of all, KJ, it has to come from nowhere. Actually, it comes from their communist Marxist thinking. That's where it comes from, number one. But let me tell you what I hate that their side, the View, normalizes. I hate that they have normalized corruption, election interference, and they have even just normalized using our courts to get their way. It's not good enough to just have local elections or state elections or even national elections. No, they have to go and create out of whole cloth every avenue of corruption you can think. From the time that man came down the elevator until now, this is what they have normalized. And when it backfires, again, when the left is apoplectic, I am ecstatic. If I didn't even know what the decision was today, just because they are upset about it, I would think it a win in my favor or on our side.
Sure. I want to get your thoughts on this, Crystal. I mean, they're going back to all of this stuff from many, many years ago. I mean, that has nothing to do with the decision.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that Shelley pointed that out, because I agree. What we've normalized is uplifting ignorant, dumb ladies sitting there talking about things that they have nothing to do with. First of all, Whoopi, you should have stuck to comedy and movies, because she's sitting up here talking about, oh, this man who is a human being, he is endowed by God, he is an American citizen. Like, you can't just decide, like you said in the Constitution, like, oh, we're just gonna take him off. That's what we've normalized, is their behavior and their actions of wanting to just do whatever they want to when they on their terms, and then when they get checked by the same people that they loved just a couple of weeks ago. You remember when Amy Coney Barrett voted for the border? Ooh, they love them.
Exactly.
But now it didn't work out in their favor. Now, all of a sudden, then the Supreme Court is illegitimate. Girl, bye. Have several seats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to get you in on this, Tyrone, because I watched your podcast earlier today, and you specifically talked about what they're going to do next with the Congress, specifically a congressperson from here, Maryland. Can you talk a little bit about that, and what do you think the reaction is going to be?
Sure. Let me just very quickly address the frustration that the left is experiencing right now. And one of the reasons for it is because they can't do that traditional thing where they come out and say, oh, well, Thomas is an Uncle Tom, Coney Barrett is a racist, because you got Jackson, Sotomayor, and Kagan. You got a 9-0 unanimous ruling.
Unanimous.
Okay. As far as the next step that the Democrats want to take, Jamie Raskin, who's a Democrat from Maryland, he's come out and said that, well, you know, we need to put together legislation to stop Trump now from getting on the ballot, because you know that we impeached him. But what he's not saying is that both of those impeachments resulted in acquittal.
Exactly.
In the Senate. Okay. Trump has not been charged with insurrection in any jurisdiction. All right. In fact, has anyone? I don't. Maybe one.
No one's been charged.
Okay.
Not even in J6, I don't think.
No. I don't think so. So
no.
So you've got, and this is the insidious part. I mean, we can laugh about it because I do feel good about the fact that they came back unanimously. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But the insidious part is that you've got a faction within the government that is willing to set a precedent that you are guilty until proven guilty.
Yes.
Okay? And if they can do it to a former president who also happens to be a billionaire, they are telegraphing exactly what they want to do to people who do not think like them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They have waited, 4 years or whatever to bring these charges only because he said he was running again. They want, I keep saying this, they really want this man dead.
Oh, yeah.
They waited all this time. They have no standing, really. And of course, they have these, one of my P words, they have their prosecutors and they had their prognosticators and pundits all over the country to file these bogus cases. That will maybe one of them might get through. The one in New York just did, of course, but that was a setup from the beginning because they had already made the ruling before the damn trial started.
And let me briefly address that trial in New York. The crux of it is that Trump has valued his property at more than the tax assessed value of the property. Anybody that owns a home has the market value of your house is usually going to be, I want to go ahead and say always, because
it is always,
an exception, but the market value is higher than the tax assessed value.
All the time.
For forever. I mean, it's been like that. I mean, I used to be a lender. I used to do commercial loans, like forever. And the most important part of that, it doesn't matter if he said that his home was worth $1 billion. Exactly. The bank does something called a what, guys? An appraisal.
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter. Like I have had people write whatever they want on it, whatever you think your property is. So like you said, it's the precedence. And as you said, Shelley, they want this man dead. I am I'm so grateful to him that he continues to fight. But at some point, I wish he would just literally just retire in peace, because they're going to stop at nothing. They are going to stop at nothing.
You're right.
To make and now that you say that, and something you said, Tyrone, we have to understand that it's not just about Trump. And Trump has said this. Yes. They want all of us. Yes. They want to do this to all of us. And so it's the idea that because they, just like you mentioned, the New York case, that could be any one of us could purchase property. I certainly wouldn't purchase property in New York or California for that matter.
Well, we can't afford it.
But, they could do this to anyone, because anyone could be in that same predicament. If they have their target on your back, just as I said in the beginning of the call of the show, they will come after you. And this is what they're showing by going after Trump.
Yeah, exactly. and it's so corrupt, like what you were saying about the J6 and them not being prosecuted for insurrection or anything. Like, they are picking and choosing what they want to do. Absolutely. I was watching a Tucker episode that was talking about the J6 pipe bombs, and no one is even like the left has decided that they're not even going to speak about it. Mind you, why would you decide that you're not going to speak about pipe bombs being planted at the DNC?
Because you're sponsoring and funding the people who are laying them around. Right.
Your words, not mine. But what?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? They're choosing what they want to talk about. They're deciding, hey, we're going to focus on insurrection, even though there was no insurrection. We're going to focus on. We're not going to talk about the entrapment, and we're not going to talk about the office. We're going to do what the hell we want to do.
Exactly. One of the things, KJ, I was thinking about this when I was listening to the decision today, and one of the things, as great as that decision is, for me, at least, I was thinking that it's tragic in a way that we have come to this because of the left, mainly, that we have to take everything to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court should not be this involved in our political process like this. So now the courts are going to be deciding basically our ways of life when they should not be. As good as that decision is, I'm glad it was unanimous. There were some dissenting opinions that they wrote, but at least the parts they didn't concur with. But all of the justices were in agreement on the principle. You cannot just take off a presidential candidate off of a national election. And keep in mind, a few weeks ago, I think, Crystal, you just mentioned it, right? About the border, or even the Roe v. Wade, they were up in arms. They wanted the states to decide, but now that the Supreme Court is saying no, the states, you don't have that right to make the decision. Now all of a sudden, the Supreme Court has to go.
And they keep displaying this behavior. Notice that it's okay for Al Gore to complain about his election. Okay, it's okay for a lot of people don't remember that. I happened to be, my wife and I were on a business trip, and we were at a hotel and we went to bed and we didn't have a decision. And then when we woke up, we didn't have a decision, which was totally new for America.
Right.
Al Gore didn't accept it. Okay. He took it to court.
To Florida.
Right. Hanging chads and all that. Right.
Right. I remember.
Hillary Clinton. She
hanging chads, pregnant chads, everything. Remember Tyrone?
Right. And then Hillary Clinton, she didn't accept it. It was Russian collusion. So we have precedent, and it's okay when they do it. They're like children.
Yeah.
Everything they do, it's fine. But then when the exact opposite happens, they have a big problem.
Yeah, absolutely. I do have.
And look, Republicans need to start having that same type of energy.
I agree. The pettiness needs to come over here and visit. The petty gods, the petty fairy needs to come over here and visit. The Republicans, stop being above this mess. Like, we need to stoop as low as they do. I mean, they are just so childish.
Right, because reason is not working, okay? It doesn't work with them. And if you look around the world, and I do not call this stuff creeping socialism. I call it what it is, communism.
Oh, yeah.
You cannot play tiddlywinks with people of that mindset.
That are
you have to get down and dirty just like they do.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. I do want to acknowledge our super chatter tonight, Thunderball McGillicuddy. Thank you. He says, y'all keep speaking the truth. Love y'all. No, we all stand with Trump. Take one of them down, they take us all down. Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Thunderball McGillicuddy.
Yeah, and we all stand with Trump. I don't know what is going on with Nikki Haley. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to change the subject, but she's insane, you guys, like at this point. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, I hope she's not joining the Never Trumpers. She can't win
without the Trumpers. Like, there's no
Never Trumpers.
Of course she is.
You think so?
I said whatever we were on last Saturday, I'm going to try to stop calling these people stupid. They're not stupid. They know exactly what they're doing, including Nikki Haley. If she's on the Never Trumper side, or the no labels or whatever that party is, they know what they're doing. They're not stupid in the sense that we might use that word. we need to gear up and get ready. Just like you can't really argue or debate with a 3-year-old, like Tyrone was saying, they're like children. We can't argue and debate with them anymore on a logical level.
That's right. And they see that if Trump gets in there again, which looks highly likely, their farce war, their proxy war over in Eastern Europe will come to an end. Okay, people remember that we had a 4-year period, and it was the first 4-year period since almost the end of World War II.
Yeah.
Where we had no new military conflicts.
I think
started.
so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we got Biden, and he ran right into Ukraine. We are under this guy's leadership. We are trying to deal with a naval blockade of a group that set up by a group that does not have a navy. The Houthis, they don't even have a navy. And because of this weak leadership that we see coming out of the White House, we are stymied in the Suez Canal by a group that doesn't even have a navy.
Oh my God.
He's weak.
Right.
He's so weak. He's not only he's weak, he doesn't know what he's doing.
He's incompetent. And the people around them, I mean, I'm sorry, you guys. It can only be incompetence. And even Vladimir Putin actually said that a couple of weeks ago with Tucker. He's like, this has to be utter incompetence for us to be running our futures, your children's futures, your grandchildren's futures into the ground. There's no way that you can purposefully be doing that. But we have in this country, unfortunately, starting with the educational system, have elevated ignorance and dumb, like people who are dumb, like people that I thought, you remember when you used to think that you had to be really smart to run in Congress, and then you got people like Ilhan Omar and AOC and Cory Bush just walking around here talking about, and then don't get me started on, like other, VP, they're just utterly dumb. I mean,
Crystal, in principle, I agree with what you're saying about the incompetence. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. When I'm saying that they're not stupid, and they are competent by the standards that they want to enact, which are communist and Marxist standards. So they're very competent in trying to make this country into that. In communism, there are haves and have-nots. There's really no middle class. They want to wipe away our American Constitution. So by that standard, I mean, they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, we do have to move on to the next topic. Speaking of that, how they're trying to twist and frame the narrative and create these narratives. Now they're talking about white rural rage. They're calling this white rural rage. A new book by Tom Schaller and Paul Waldman is getting a lot of press. The book's description on Amazon is as follows. White rural voters hold the greatest electoral sway of any demographic group in the United States, yet rural communities suffer from poor healthcare access, failing infrastructure, and severe manufacturing. Rural voters believe our nation has betrayed them, and some degree they're right. And then they go on about their rage stoked daily by Republican politicians and the conservative media now poses an existential threat to the United States. So this is a book, again, by two UMBC professors, University of Maryland, Baltimore County. Actually, one of them was my professor at UMBC. So they were on the show Morning Joe today, I believe, or it may have been yesterday. Take a look at what they're saying. This is crazy. I want you guys to take a look here. All right. And here we are.
White rural rage, the threat to American democracy. And Tom, we'll start with you. Why are white rural voters a threat to democracy at this point? You would think, as we pointed out, looking at Joe Biden's background and Donald Trump's, that the opposite would be true.
I mean, we lay out the
fourfold interconnected
threat that white rural voters pose.
He's been there a long time.
And we show 30 polls and national studies to demonstrate this. So we provide the receipts in chapter 6. They're the most racist, xenophobic, anti-immigrant, anti-gay geodemographic group in the country. Second, they're the most conspiracist group. QAnon support and subscribers, election denialism, COVID denialism and scientific skepticism, Obama birtherism. Third, anti-democratic sentiments. They don't believe in an independent press, free speech. They're most likely to say the president should be able to act unilaterally in Congress or the courts or the bureaucracy. They're also the most strongly white nationalist and white Christian nationalists. And fourth, they are most likely to excuse or justify violence as an acceptable alternative to.
Oh my God!
You mentioned a lot of negative factors about this.
All right.
Oh, Mika. Oh, she is just a disaster.
So this is it. So I mean, I'm listening to him read off this list, and I'm thinking maybe I'm a white rural
I got white rural raised.
He said COVID denial. He said election denial. He said Christian.
We hit
all
the boxes.
I am too.
I want to go to you on this first, Tyrone, because you live in rural America. Do you agree with this? Is this what you're going through? You look like a black man to me. How are you getting along?
Tyrone, if you ain't white, you black.
Right. And look, I don't see this. Okay. I find that going back to the left trying very hard to establish communism, if you look back at Stalin's regime, for example, you had a group called the kulaks in the Soviet Union. They were a group of, they were like farmers. They owned large tracts of land. They lived in the rural parts of the region. And Stalin thought that these people are antithetical to the establishment of communism as he saw it. He put all types of curbs on them and eventually exiled a lot of them, destroyed others. We saw the same thing with Mao Zedong's Great Leap Forward, where he tried to urbanize the the farming communities and that demographic. That didn't work out. 45 million people eventually died. So we see this hatred that the left, the world over, has for what in this country is referred to as flyover country. Okay,
Right.
A place where you still maintain a lot of traditional American values. All right, a place where the nuclear family is not only cherished but relied upon.
Yes.
Okay, for day-to-day existence. Okay. And you see this genuflection toward urbanism and wanting to push everything into this urban environment that is more easily controlled. You're not growing your own food in a high-rise apartment. Okay.
No.
You're
cheese.
You're right. You're getting water from the state. Okay. Infrastructure. So it's an attack on independence.
Exactly.
It's also an attempt to demonize any and everybody that is not with the establishment of this system they want to build. And briefly, Shelley, you're right. There is a class within the left that is extremely intelligent and extremely they're hell bent on engineering a new system. But then you have the useful idiots like Jamal Bowman, AOC, okay. Even what's her name? Cheney's daughter. Okay? Pawns out there that are willing to be pawns just so that they can literally appear on a Sunday morning program. Okay, get to go to certain cocktail parties. And get certain contracts. To
not be called a Trump supporter, not be called a racist.
Right.
Exactly. Look, Tyrone, you were right. You were talking about communism and Stalin and Mao, saying everywhere communism has been tried, they typically will start with removing the rights from the people, and they go after the farms, and millions of people starve to death, literally, which is why communism is typically called bloody. It's bloody because everywhere you go, there's death and destruction, right? That's number one. But guess what? I am kind of glad that they came out with this book, You know why? Because those rural people are going to come down with their guns and their voting ballots and cast their vote for Trump. Remember, Hillary told us it was a vast right-wing conspiracy, right? She told us that. Then she called us deplorable.
Right.
Then she said we were xenophobic and homophobic, you know, you name it. So guess what? When those rural voters go to their ballots on their vast farms and in their communities and towns, they're checking the box for Trump because they want to keep maintaining their independence and their American values. They don't want to rely on you all. So this was probably the best little trope that these authors come out with to help boost this election.
And I agree 100% with you that they are angry and they are upset and they are not just white. Okay. Right. We are angry and we are upset because you keep saying a threat to a democracy. You're right. We are a threat to a democracy. I think it was somebody that said democracy is two wolves and a sheep trying to figure out what to have for lunch.
That's
right. We
right.
are not a democracy, and our founding fathers foresaw what was going on. People, you do not understand. You do not want a democracy. That means that you might as well get rid of our elections, and New York and California will pick our president, our Congress every single time. Like, you don't understand what is going on. And so stop allowing these people to manipulate you and just repeat stupid stuff all the time. Right. Yes, we are a threat to democracy because we are a constitutional republic.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. And what's going on here right now, where you have, and I know that the Pop and Politics program has other people on throughout the month, but you've got 4 Black people, young Black people, who are just not with the programming that the media would have you believe. Okay. And that narrative is wearing very thin because now the Black Chicago residents see that their taxpayer dollars, okay, they have been asking for that one community center to be renovated for years.
Right.
Never got it. And instantly, when the immigrants came over, Brandon Johnson just gave it to him. No problem. Adams up in New York. I am surprised that Eric Adams has enough brain power to inflate his lungs.
I know.
This idiot is out there trying to make the case that, we're giving away this $10,000 to the immigrants, but we're actually saving money. That's tantamount to me not needing a new wardrobe and seeing a sale and going buying a whole new wardrobe and saying, hey, I saved money.
Yeah.
10% off sale. I saved 10%.
Yeah.
Okay. This is his mentality.
Yeah. I do have to acknowledge before you say something, Shelley. Okay. I have to acknowledge Thunderball McGuff.
Oh, another one. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Where he says rural people or country folks are the kindest. Love y'all as a white man through your profession. Yeah, I know. It's true. I know.
Right. But Tyrone, what I was gonna say, you know how the sale circulars or the sale ads, they'll say the more you spend, the more you save.
Right.
Well, the same thing, right? You got to spend double and triple, and all you want to save is of course you're gonna save more because you're spending more, but it's not gonna balance out.
Right.
Yeah, but it's like spending your it's like your kids don't have anything to eat. So the kids in the house don't have anything to eat. But like you said, you see a sale and you're like, well, I saved money, but we're starving. And that's the thing. We're not taking care of the citizens of New York or Chicago. And now they're getting upset and they're getting mad. And you guys, upset and mad is great and everything, but you got to get educated. You have got to understand like what is going on and how you've been used and how to fix it. Like if it's even fixed, I don't even know if it's salvageable at this point.
Absolutely. And not only that, we have to get past this racism, this not even racism, the race, the idea of race
No, KJ.
Fantastic.
AJ, it's an election year.
Right?
We'll get past it in December, but it has worked every single time. It's on cue. I see people now talking about racism and oh my God.
It's an obsession to this point. I mean, we're in the 21st century, and the obsession with race and this type of racial bias is just out of control.
It is.
It's out of control.
It is. And it's of course used as a tactic to divide, because we all come into contact with members of different ethnicities, on a regular basis. And if you let the news media tell it, okay, we're at each other's throats. There's a race war going on every minute of every day. But that's not true. Okay.
Right.
We as American citizens work together. We live together. We recreate together just fine. But this is why I encourage people. And you guys know that I have not watched network, local, or cable news in 13 years. And I stay informed by reading, about the subjects that I care about. Because that's the other thing that's valuable about this platform. You got people interacting with you real time. All right. MSNBC, Joy Reid and her golden, wig.
Yeah,
She's talking at you. She's not talking with you.
No.
She's talking at you. And that is what the power structure is losing, is that ability to just dictate to you how you should think. Okay, you got plenty of people real time sending in their chats right now, having their say. This is what we need to get back to, and we need to just totally reject all of this racist garbage that they are preaching to us, because it's not what we're living in real America.
Not unless we want to, not unless we're looking for it. Like I'm starting to, sports and all that. And I'm like looking at people like making stuff like about race now again. I'm hearing conversations, well, they don't listen to me because I'm Black, or they don't like me because I'm like, really? Are we doing that? Maybe they don't like you. Like, I can think of a million reasons that people don't like me, you guys. I'm loud, I'm obnoxious, I can be a little bossy, I can be a little annoying and passionate. Race is probably the last thing.
If at all. If at all.
Yeah, if at all.
Yeah, right. No, I agree. I totally agree. And it's always if you're looking for it. And again, there are evil people in the world. There are evil people in the world, and that's never going to go. Until God comes back, Jesus comes back, that's not going to go anywhere. So, I mean, race, and again, and honestly, if you're I don't care if you're racist. I really don't. And what I was going to say to this, how many of us on this call, on this show, know Black people that are racist?
Ain't nobody more racist than Black people.
They're talking about white rural people. You need to go to a Black home on Thanksgiving or Christmas, and they talk. I mean, I don't know if you would say racist, but definitely prejudiced.
I would say
racist is the exact word for it.
Based on their definition, they're racist. I don't think that they're racist. I think that they're ignorant, and we try to be funny. And we're tribal. We're just human beings are tribal, right? So I don't even think that it's racist. But based on their standard, if they're judging white folks the same way that they're judging themselves, they are way bigger racists.
Exactly. I had a lady today. I kid you not, happened today. We were in the store, we were in the line, and she was talking, a Black lady, and she started talking to me. You hear about the decision today about Trump? I said, yes, absolutely. That's how it should have gone, because he didn't commit any crimes to be taken off a ballot, and certainly the states don't have that. So her eyes kind of like, oh, you know what? That does make sense. I said they shouldn't be taking people. We should be electing who we want. The choices are ours, right? That was one thing. Then she wanted to bring up about the people, the kids doing carjacking. Yeah, they talking about in Annapolis, the people doing carjacking, but they say it's only going to be the Black people that's going to be locked up. I said, good. If they commit the crime,
they're
they should
doing
go
the
to
crime.
jail. I mean, her eyes got like saucers, right? And she was like, I said, what difference does it make? Why should you allow someone to steal your car and they don't go to jail because they look like you? Does that make any sense? And you're the victim and they get up and this lady was older than I was. And she said, I never thought about it like that. Are you serious?
That demographic.
It's because of the climate that we're in right now. This is all we're being fed. And God bless you, Tyrone, for you don't watch TV, but it's everywhere. It's TV, it's social media, it's in the movies, it's in the music, it's everywhere. They're pushing this racial tension. And we have to actively push back against it.
Right.
And that's what we're here to do. This is what we do on this channel. We are truth seekers. As I mentioned earlier, we're here for the truth. We're here to come together as Americans, as a country. We need to come together, reclaim our country back, and get this resident out of the White House, because he's been tearing us down for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And it's no wonder that this is coming from him, because I always laugh when people come at Donald Trump with the racist thing. You got a guy sitting in the White House who tried to resegregate the school system. He tried with Strom Thurmond. And then, to add insult to injury, got up in the well of the Senate and said he didn't want his crackhead son. And somebody corrected me on that. I was on the show. They said that boy is not a crackhead. He is a dope fiend.
That is very different. Very different.
Yeah, whatever.
So his dope fiend son said, I don't want him going to a racial jungle. This guy said this. All right.
Right.
This is the same guy that came into a black church and said that Mitt Romney was going to put us back in chains.
Back in chains.
And I fault that church for not telling him to leave.
Yeah.
Okay. They did the amen thing after that. Okay. Right. Hillary Clinton coming in, I don't feel no ways tired. But this guy that's in the White House is every bit as an old, desiccated Dixiecrat. Okay, that's what he is.
Yeah, for sure. And I
remember, like, y'all can't see this.
No, you don't want to see it. And it's the media that they talk about. You heard Tom Schauer with the professor run down, they don't believe in that the media is independent. They're not independent.
They're not.
Ask him the tough questions. He gets the questions before the interview. I'm talking about Biden.
Right.
Donna Brazile gave the questions to Hillary Clinton. She surely did. So
but they have to, and the media is just bought and paid for. And people think about media and they think about Pfizer and stuff like that when they sell ads. They're like, oh, they're selling ads. No. They are selling their silence. The news media is supposed to be reporting on these things, asking the tough questions. And right now they're not. Why? Because of that money.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's Marge Teray. I think it's Marge Teray. His acronym for media is Most Effective Devil in America.
Yeah.
I think that was Marge Teray.
Yeah, because there's few lies. And that's what you get. The devil is a liar. I want to acknowledge some of these super chatters. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much, friends. So let me see here. I have Chris Creative says, how do you wake up 95% of Black women voting Democrat automatically? Unfortunately, major damage has been done the last 3.5 years, so maybe too late.
I don't know.
That's a very good comment. Very good question.
Well, I'll say this. I'll try to answer you, Chris. We don't wake up the 95%. We wake them up as their eyes open, and then we start. And it's just going to start there. It's not all going to happen at once. Look at us. I mean, I've been Black since I've been born, but okay.
Yeah.
And another, I'll respond to that too. And what he said was true. I mean, right now, and we've said this on this show before, it feels like not just Black women, women in general are really leading us down a terrible road.
Yeah.
Especially leftist women. I mean, we talked about Moms for Liberty and how they're doing God's work, honestly, to get these pornographic violent books out of schools, not banning the books. You can still purchase these books at public stores and things. They just want them not accessible to K through 12 children. And you have people all pushing back against them. The destruction of the marriage, this whole independent woman, this whole I don't need a man, and how they hate men. It's women leaving this charge. It's sad. And like you mentioned, Shelley, we just have to continue to speak up and speak truth.
Yeah, but we're in a matriarchy right now. And that I agree with you guys that women are causing this. It's so sad that we are in 2024 and a Republican, Anna Navarro, I say quote unquote Republican, is still saying the lie of Trump saying grab him by the pussy. All the evidence shows what he was saying in the context. But unfortunately, women, because they're busy, maybe because I don't know, have literally just forgotten their due diligence or like to check their facts, and they are just neglecting it. But that comes from not having a man in the household and not the men not going into their role as the leader. Men are very calculated, and unfortunately, they've been beaten down so bad to say, "Oh, women are just as good. Women are just as strong. Women can be the leader," and they have gotten to the point where they're just like, "Okay, fine," and they've just kind of given up. And you're seeing the degradation of a society when you do that to men. That's just the truth.
Yeah. No, that's right, because the nuclear family, husband, wife, kids, that's not an American construct. That's been around for thousands of years.
Yes,
and
it works.
Because it works. Exactly.
Right.
So we have a history in this country ever since LBJ and the Great Society of trying to cleave the woman and the man away from one another, and to replace the head of the household as the man, replace that with the government.
The government, as they say in the Black community, the government.
It's leading to a lot of lack of fulfillment. Okay. As far as these women who are so sold on the Democrat Party, look, go to Walbrook Junction and just take North Avenue all the way down to the cemetery. Just drive straight
all the way. And
when you're looking around you, understand that we got this crazy councilman that's enamored with bike lanes. Like, who's riding a bike this far? Okay, you got total blight on either side of the street, going all the way down. And look, this is brought to you. There has not been a Republican in any position of authority in Baltimore City in well over 50 years.
60 something years. I think it's 60 something years.
Almost 70 years.
Right. So these policies have had enough time to clearly demonstrate they don't work. And it's getting worse.
Yeah.
Especially with women being so compassionate, leading with that compassion and having that bleed off into the criminal justice system. Now you got Ivan Bates down there in office,
right?
He was slamming carjackers. Just gave 150 years. Okay.
Wow.
No diversion programs. No interventions. A prison sentence. Okay. Because you've demonstrated you can't live with the rest of us productively. Women need to understand that there's a time for compassion, and then there's a time for brass tacks.
Right.
And
it's not compassion. At this point, it's manipulation.
Not compassion. It's fake.
Yeah.
It's
manipulation.
It's fake. Because you can't. The Canton is safe. Okay. Let them North Avenue
not really anymore. I mean, it's calm down.
And comparatively speaking, it's
let them North Avenue folks try to come. You saw what happened when they had that shooting down in Fed Hill the other day.
Yeah.
They corrected that thing so fast. They probably don't even care. And that's what I mean. So I think that the compassion is fake because you're living an insulated life. I went through that as well when I lived in Virginia. I was a liberal Democrat, like screaming. And then I had to come to a place like Baltimore and live with the policies that I was
advocating for.
Well, interesting, Chrissy, that you said that, because I'm on a step further. Just like the New Yorkers, they go with the snowbirds, they go down to Florida. You got people in California that are leaving in droves, moving to Texas and Arizona and other states. They leave the places that they screw up, and then they go somewhere else and start voting the same damn way they just left.
Yeah,
but the people can't afford. Everybody can't afford to leave, right?
Right.
Other people are stuck there with those policies.
Yeah, it's awful. It's awful. I was talking to someone like that over the holiday. I was so upset. This woman, she has plenty of money. She was living here in Baltimore. She decides to move down to Florida and complains. Now she's trying to change all of the situation down there. She's pro-abortion and all of this stuff. And she's going to vote. She's going to try to vote liberal. She's going to vote liberal. And it's awful. It's awful. I do want to acknowledge some of our super chatters here. We have Kenzie 14. Great show tonight. Thank you so much. Certainly appreciate you guys. I also have
thank you again.
I know.
Our news is being told right now from 4 Black American people. Thank you. Thank you for your support. Certainly appreciate it. I'm trying to get to everybody tonight here. I have another super chatter. Yes, FP says the most rage I'll ever feel is being called racist for talking about child sex trafficking at the border.
Wow. Thank you, EF.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, the major issue, probably the biggest issue of our lifetime. This issue with the border being wide open is going to affect us and our generations to come.
Exactly. Right.
We don't even know how the bad this is going to get.
We got 2 more, right?
Do we? I do hear. Let me see here. I do. Let's see here. Sonia, powerful insight.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sonia. Right. Hold on. I'm trying to give them like my.
We got one more.
Okay. Yeah. And we have here Lap SWAT 1. You got to cut out the influence of the white lib, but can we do it?
No, they just
are like. I think so. I mean, I'm hopeful.
I can't stand them, y'all. I get an attitude, and they can't because they can't figure out why me as a Black woman don't like them. They're like, we like you. I hate y'all like so bad. I know that's
one thing I would say to that. Again, I know I love Malcolm X, and I know he made that quote famous about being aware of the white liberal. Today in our economy, if you will, it's really the left that we need to make a distinction about. This is why I think, again, I know Dennis Prager talks about this a lot. And for me, it's really important to make that distinction. What we are seeing now is beyond liberalism. It's leftism. It is communism. It is Marxism. That's beyond liberalism. So I think, at least for me, knowing those distinctions helps me to focus on where the real issues are.
Right. Well, I want to acknowledge another super chatter here, Jeff. Now, thank you. Thanks for your great work. Keep it up. Certainly appreciate you guys. I mean, like I said, we're building a community here. We have to stick together. We have to stand up and speak out against this, no matter where you are, from Baltimore to Wyoming to Florida, all over the country. We have to speak up against this, because the more we speak up, the more we don't sit back and let them, do what they're going to do, the left. The more we get our country back, the faster.
Right. And that's very important. That conservative people cannot afford. Literally, we cannot afford, because we'll wake up and our rights will be gone.
Oh yeah,
we cannot afford to just sit back and have them say what they want. We have to become as confrontational. Now, I'm not talking about the confrontation where they burn a city down, because they're good at that. But we have to stand up for ourselves, and we have to say, you know what? You're wrong, okay? And because you are a child, I'm not going to spend any of my time try to explain this to you until you mature. All right.
Exactly.
But you're wrong. I'm right. All
Yeah.
right. And we need to be totally unapologetic about it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
obnoxious about it. Like I get to the point where
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna have a conversation with somebody that
Exactly.
says January 6th people died. I'm not gonna talk to you about that. When you start saying people were murdered on January 6th, I'm not discussing with you. You have just showed me that you are an ignorant person, and we're not having this conversation. I literally
Exactly.
said to somebody,
Exactly.
people were murdered on January 6th.
That's what they say.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
the left, and again, the world over likes to pervert the reality into whatever they want it to be. Did you guys see
Exactly.
this kid from Harvard come in and curse Joe Manchin?
No.
Yeah,
That was a while ago.
No, I think this was recently.
Okay.
Yeah, and even though Joe Manchin's Democrat, I like what he did. He literally stood up to this guy.
Yeah.
And it looked like Joe Manchin was about to throw a coal miner's punch at this West Virginia coal miner's punch at this guy. But his security guard stepped in and literally threw this guy out of the door. Because this is what the left does. You are presented with an audience with a U.S. senator, and agree or disagree, you don't take the opportunity to express yourself intelligently. This again shows that leftist mentality is childlike.
Yeah.
No, so they're unhinged.
Yeah, they're
They
unhinged.
are unhinged. This is what libs of TikTok shows them all the time. That's why they hate that woman. You don't have to say anything. They can show you they are unhinged. And the issue we have now, the biggest issue is that this society continues to legitimize them. You had Anna Navarro talking about what she said about Trump. We legitimize him. No, you guys are legitimizing people that say men are women and women are men. You're legitimizing people that come onto your show, men that are trying to chest feed their babies.
And unhinged is a good word. Unhinged is a good word because they are unhinged from reality. They are unhinged from the structures of our country and our constitution, our foundations. They are. And guess what? Not only are they unhinged from them, that's the side that takes them apart and rips them up and lifts them out of the damn soil that they breathe in. They're doing it. They are the ones who are turning things upside down. Conservatives are really today's liberals because we just want to go back to the Constitution. We just want to be grounded in reality. Men are men, women are women, children don't need to be exposed. The basics. That's all we're asking for.
Yeah. Right. And KJ, and I agree with what you said when we had our show on, like now, and I understand that Dennis Prager mentioned that there's a difference between leftism and liberalism. Now I'm to the point, if you are voting Democrat, you are weird. I'm sorry.
Bam.
You're weird. It's no longer, oh, I like their policies, or oh, you are a weirdo.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
I agree with you. I'm either weirdo or uninformed.
Which is
I say weirdo. I say weirdo.
75-year-old woman talking about Trump's a racist and it don't matter what the country is going to be like because I'm going to be dead. That's some of the stuff that these folks talk about.
Yeah.
That's my pervert class. My other P is a pervert. That's my pervert class. The weirdos.
They don't care about their grandchildren.
It's far beyond uninformed.
Yeah.
It's because if you look at it and look at the victories that they've had, they've never been satisfied. So if you take this and project it to 10 years from now, what will they think of next that they want to do? Okay.
Yes. Bestiality is coming. Bestiality is coming.
Okay, you've got them promoting relationships now with children. That is creeping into the culture very, very slowly. And it's like these people are straight weirdos.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Their ideology needs to be not negotiated with, no diplomacy. It needs to be rejected. Okay,
and perverts and pagans. One of the marks of a society in decline is when children are used or basically sacrificed on the altar for the most part. Pagan, I think we are in an era at least of pagan worship, whatever you want to call it. The perverts, the pagans. This is where we are right now in this iteration of leftism.
Yeah, and it's a demographic, you guys. I don't care what you say. Like, there is something about the baby boomer females, and it don't even matter black or white. Something is going on with them, that they're obsessed with abortions. They're obsessed with like all kind, like, and it's just like, you are what's wrong. And so I laugh sometimes because they don't understand that they are older in this generation and they are suffering, a lot of them. You should be retired in Florida, but you're still working as a psychologist. I wonder why. Because you can't retire, because this is the life that you've set up for yourself.
Right.
And Shelley, you mentioned the paganism, how they hate any people of faith. Whether Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Judaism, they hate any of the Abrahamic religions.
Right.
And this is here, right on MSNBC. I mean, they're not even hiding it anymore. And I know you have to go, Tyrone. I just want to show this clip very quickly. This is MSNBC. Take a look here. Do I have? Oh, 1 second.
This fool.
Oh, I don't think it's playing.
This is a good one.
Yeah.
If I can get it to play. Sorry about that.
Hear words like Christian nationalism, like the New Apostolic Reformation. These are groups that you should get very. And
he's a preacher,
because they have a
this
lot of.
Fool is a Republican.
A preacher
that unites all of them, because there's many different groups orbiting Trump. But the thing that unites them as Christian nationalists, not Christians, by the way, because Christian nationalists is very different, is that they believe that our rights as Americans, as all human beings, don't come from any earthly authority. They don't come from Congress. They don't come from the Supreme Court. They come from God. The problem with that is that they are determining men, are determining what God is telling them. And in the past, that so-called natural law is, it's a pillar of
so-called
used for good in social justice campaigns. Right. Martin Luther King evoked it in talking about civil rights. But now you have an extremist element of conservative Christians who say that this applies specifically to issues including abortion, gay marriage, and it's going much further than that.
Okay, so look what you have. Look what you have on that panel. You have a member of academia. You have a bobblehead from the news media, and you have an absolute failure in Michael Steele. The man has never done anything that wasn't associated with riding someone else's coattails. And now he is such a failure that he has to sit on MSNBC in order to feed himself. He has to agree and toe the line with things that are antithetical to his background. He went to seminary. Okay.
Exactly. He's a priest, a minister, a priest, or whatever. Yes.
These are the gatekeepers that they put before you. And just going back briefly to when you guys were talking about what's happening with these baby boomer women, it's almost as if they took some sort of, I don't know, elixir in 2021 that just drove them crazy. Okay? Society has been acting pretty wild after a certain medication got introduced.
So.
Look, I knew where he was going with that.
Oh, I just caught on.
So, but yeah, Michael Steele, those three,
that's shameful. That's shameful.
And that's why I don't watch it.
Yeah. Again, another P word, my pundit class. There you go. All right there on like you said, the fail, when you go to fail, when failures go, is MSNBC. We learned tonight, or at least it's been retold to us. I'm a white, rural Christian nationalist.
Angry.
I wear it
Angry
honorably. I
We have
wear it
white
honorably.
rural rage. We have white rural rage.
I know. That's probably why our skin just got dark because, we're so angry. So the blood is rushing in.
That we should get some shirts. We are white. I am a white rural Christian nationalist. We should get some shirts.
Well, they already, Tyrone, they told us we're not black. So we're trying to figure out where we fit in.
Yeah,
right. As they described it, we are white rural raging
Christian nationalists.
Right,
Yeah.
right. As they described it.
Like you mentioned, Michael Steele, he claims to be a Republican. He's a pastor. He was a minister. The Declaration of Independence says we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. They are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights.
Right. But they want your
say that.
They want your God.
They
want in keeping with communism, they want your God to be government.
Exactly. Look, she said so-called natural law. Now, natural law has been established, philosophized, and what you canonized, if you will, long before the Declaration of Independence.
Oh yeah, natural law is what
now it's so-called natural law. I mean,
it's wicked. It's wicked.
Meaning you can't change that X to a Y, baby. I don't care how much you try.
So-called natural law. So-called.
I do
Again, she's trying to undermine the foundations on which our country was built. Natural law, if you want to call it a doctrine, a theory, whatever, it has been established for centuries.
Oh yeah.
And let me ask you this, and this is the last question before you go.
I know we don't want you to leave.
What is it? First of all, I'll say this: love who you want to. If you marry adults, whoever you want to marry, if you want to be gay, you want to be bisexual, as long as you're an adult, do whatever you want to do. But what is it about this that they can't let go of? The left, they have to cling to this idea of sex with any and everybody, with as many as you want, same sex. This is what why do you believe that they're just clinging to this? This really gets them fired up. And
it's a combination of things. In 2024, everybody's got to be famous, okay, for something. Everybody's got to have some modicum of attention coming their way, to the point where now what we've done as a society is we've said to a group, because of the way you like to have sex, we're going to make you a protected class, okay? Because of the way you like to have sex, not because of anything inherent in you that we would be able to see just we walking down the street or anything like that. Just because of the way it would be akin, and at the risk of being just slightly crude, it would be akin, and this is an adult show, to everybody who likes doggy style saying we're a protected class now.
Oh yeah,
we are our own little class, baby. Okay? And you can't discriminate against us because we're gonna have a parade and we're gonna have the doggy style parade. Something like that. We want all kinds of recognition for that. It's just as ridiculous. Okay, like you said. Look, I don't care what you do. You got a relationship. That's on you. Do what you want. Be happy. Okay. But I'm not driving down the road with a bumper sticker that says heterosexual. Okay?
Who cares?
It's like the left never recognizes when they've won. Right. It's very difficult for them to recognize when they have actually achieved victory.
Right.
And they just keep pushing and pushing. It's like, listen, you can be as gay as you want. I don't have to agree with your lifestyle. It's like you don't have to agree with elements of my lifestyle. It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I do want to acknowledge.
I'm sorry.
I want to acknowledge this super chatter here. We have I don't want to be woke or broke. Says, I replaced my thumbnail with the one Lincoln Riley's mom, Ashley, posted today. I pray it catches on.
Oh wow!
Yes, indeed. And last week we did a whole segment on Lincoln Riley. Our prayers go out to the family. What happened to her is beyond
Travesty.
tragedy. Yes.
KJ, I want to answer your question before Tyrone goes, and you can probably help me out, Tyrone.
Well, one second. Let me just acknowledge one last super chatter. Yes, we do. Okay. We have one additional super chatter. Oops,
Brother Wall Street.
right. Brother Wall Street. Do you see it there?
It says, keep it coming. You guys are wonderful. Our Black youth have fallen behind in education. Help. We're trying, Brother Wall Street. We are trying.
Yes, indeed. Shelley, what were you saying before?
So to your question about why they keep clinging to this, again, I've said repeatedly that leftism is as much a religion as it is an ideology. And generally speaking, people don't just give up their religion, whatever it is, right? They don't give it up easily without some kind of literal, psyche transformation. That's number one. Number two, the idea of, I think they are so fixated on anything sex and children. Well, if you think about it, historically, back in mythology, the gods, they really weren't all that separate. The gods came down and mingled with the people, impregnated them, right? So there was really no distinction between the holy and the secular or the daily or whatever, the mundane. And Judaism, Christianity is the only religion, or the first at least, who separated God and made the difference between profane and holy. So that's just a little synopsis, if you will. But this is why they cling to it. It is a religion for them. It's not an ideology. It is a religion. No more than you or any of us would give up Christianity or whatever, Judaism, Islam. They're not going to give up leftism.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you again for joining us tonight, Tyrone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tyrone. Good to see you.
Please share where our audience can find you.
Yes, Soldiers of Finance on YouTube. We talk about politics, policy, news of the day as it relates to your wallet. So tune in, Soldiers of Finance. Check us out. We'd appreciate it.
All right, absolutely.
Thanks, Tyrone. Good to see you.
All right. Y'all have a good evening.
Have you on again soon.
All righty.
All right. All right, ladies. We have one more topic to get through tonight. I do want to share this last topic because this is kind of crazy as well, and it goes along with what we've been talking about tonight. Not sure if you've been following a playwright. An American playwright is has a play in the UK. I think it's called West End, the Slave Play is what it's called. And it's a play. I don't really know much about it, but one thing he's doing is he is hosting or having several performances where only Black people can come to the performance.
Yeah.
So, he's calling it a blackout performance night. And he's saying no white people allowed, only Black people. So take a look at this. Oops, what did I do? Okay. Take a look at this. This is him talking about exactly what he's doing. Let me see here. He's in Britain. This guy. Here we go. Take a look. Am I going to be able to play it? Let's see.
That by inviting Black, no one is saying that by inviting Black audiences here, you were uninvited.
On Broadway, there were nights where tickets were only sold to people who identified as Black. Are you going to do that in the West End?
I'm so excited to, yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. I think that one of the things that we have to remember is that people have to be radically invited into a space to know that they belong there.
That's one of the stupidest things I've heard.
Yeah, show me, how do you radically invite somebody?
Your hair.
How do you radically invite somebody somewhere?
And then they make them feel safe. Usually when you're radical, you're kind of destructive and dangerous. And
you look crazy. If you came up to me and radically invited me somewhere, I think you're a nut, which he is. Take a look.
In the West, poor people and Black people have been told that they do not belong inside of the theater. In America, Crow existed to literally tell them that they could not sit in the same theater as white people. And so for
back in Jim Crow.
as someone who wants and yearns for Black and brown people to be in the theater, who comes from a working class environment, and so wants like people who do not make, over 6 figures a year to feel like theater is a place for them.
Y'all,
Now he's going to say, white people, you cannot come to the theater. He's going to do the same thing.
Right. He is younger than we are. He has never been told that he could not go to somebody's theater. He's never been told that. He's lying.
With initiatives that say you're invited, specifically you.
Right. And if the price of that is saying to people who are, just because they're white, you can't come, you're not allowed in this space, does that make you uncomfortable?
Well, no one's saying, listen, there are a litany of places in our country, in all of our countries, that are generally inhabited by only white people. And
so nobody telling you can't go.
I just want to know which place is he talking about.
Exactly.
Has questions about that. And no one is saying that by inviting Black audiences here, you were uninvited.
Yeah, that's the new
The idea of a blackout night is to say,
it's like, this little nuance. That's what it is.
To feel safe with a lot of other Black people in a place where they often do not feel safe.
Okay, and does it play differently? Does the theater feel different?
100%.
Okay.
It feels.
In what way? Explain.
I think
Don't get robbed.
I was going to say, I don't want to go to where all those Black people are.
Do not
Hell
know
no.
Culturally, Black audiences and white
I
audiences
know Blacks.
things differently.
I know.
All right.
We don't want to be somewhere where only Blacks are invited. Sorry.
We try to avoid it at all.
Well, if he wants that, come to Baltimore. He can come down here to Montgomery Mall.
Don't walk out with your bags. Don't walk out with your bags, sir. You will get trounced.
And here we are again. We talked about this on the show before. Here you have this woman, an interviewer. She's white. And instead of her saying, she asked him, and will it make you feel uncomfortable about, only Black people? No, white people. Instead of her saying, I am actually a little uncomfortable with you saying that. It's a little bit of segregation. She says, are you going to feel uncomfortable?
Yeah, and white people, I've said it before, it is your fault. You should not allow anybody to be treated this way. More or less, your children are white. Your grandchildren are going to be white. Your family, your aunts, uncle. Why are you allowing people to deliberately exclude you, mistreat you, do the same thing that they say they don't want done to them?
Right.
He's all the way over in the UK spewing this stuff, right? Lies.
They're doing it here.
He has never been told any theater in America that he could not come in. He's never been told that. He's lying. And again, tell me wherever he's going to be with all these Black people at one time, let me know so I will not show up.
Yeah, but white people, I'm telling you, this is your chance to have a whites only, and you need to put white only, no Blacks allowed, and you need to have your whatever, and honestly, and let them see how that feels, because it's not a good feeling. And you guys, this has nothing to do with the fact of us hating our skin color or hating Black. Right is right and wrong is wrong.
Right.
And we stand for truth more than anything. And we have to we have to answer to God for what we do in this body. And for us to just agree just because we want to be accepted into some crew of Blackness would mean that I have fostered the degradation of my child's future, because that pendulum will swing and hit you right in that forehead of yours.
Yeah, well, I would say not only that, but we're not following along the perspective or what Ibram X. Kendi says. Where the only way you can fix current discrimination or racism is to use racism again. I don't subscribe to that.
I'll tell you what. I got a prescription for the white people who want to attend, following Ibram Kendi X's prescription. Go in blackface. White people, go in blackface. Go in blackface. That's all I'm gonna say. Go in blackface.
I wouldn't go. I'm telling you, I would not want to be around people that don't want me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand. However, what I will say is we have, like you said, KJ, is call them out. Like, I am very uncomfortable that you are saying to me that you don't. Would you be comfortable if I had a white only theater day?
Right.
Yeah.
And not only that, but again, and I said this on Saturday night's broadcast, they're trying to sow division to lead to chaos. And so this is why I feel like us on the right, we can't fall for it. We cannot fall for it. We have to continue to push, us, bring everyone together, become a post-racial society. Gather around one another under the umbrella of faith and of God, and we're all God's creation, and things like that. Because they want to sow division. They want us fighting one another. So in turn, it'll be total chaos, and then they'll say, "Oh, everything's crazy. Let's bring in one world order, one world government, and we rule everything because we're the only way. We're the answer to bringing about a normalcy and things to be safe."
Yeah. And if we're fighting each other, if I see, my white friends as the enemy, or whomever, Asian people as the enemy, we're fighting each other, that means we're distracted on where the real problems are, and that the government, like you said, is coming in. Then we're totally distracted. We're totally distracted.
Yeah, because we're not. I mean, white people and black people, especially in this country, are just so immersed in each other's lives. I mean, like, we are joined at the hip. We are all Americans. And so for us to just try to find something, and so they're doing that over in the UK, like we're doing it over here. Like, I mean, like, and we have to denounce that thing so heavily, because it will. If white people, if y'all continue to allow people to treat you like this and say, "Oh, it's okay to treat you like this," it's only going to get worse.
Absolutely. All right. So we are at the end of our time tonight. Great show, ladies. It was really nice having Tyrone Keys on with us.
Yeah.
Glad to have him back. As I always say, thank you guys for watching. Again, this is a movement that we are starting. It's not just a podcast we have here. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, American-loving people. And we need to stand together because of we love freedom. We have a target on our backs.
Yeah.
We have a target on our backs. So we need to stand together as a community, as friends. And when you subscribe, that helps us to push this forward. This helps us to amplify this rallying call of freedom. So again, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for all the super chatters, for all the comments tonight.
Thank you.
We certainly appreciate you guys. Any last thoughts, ladies, before we go?
Yeah, you guys. Freedom is a hill that I'm willing to die on, you guys, and we cannot continue. I've been hashtagging conservative courage. Like, I'm telling you, for God I live and for God I die. And there is no way that I'm going to leave my children's future worse than what I came into it. So we have got to get courageous and be willing to lose friends, be willing to lose whoever to speak the truth.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I want to chime off of what Crystal said. There's a price to pay for whatever side you're on.
Oh yeah.
And you're gonna have to, whatever side you're on, there is a price to pay, and you're gonna have to choose what you are willing to pay, and as Crystal said, what you're willing to stand on and even die for. So,
all right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that does it for us tonight. I'm gonna try to play this outro for you guys. Again,
what's your final words? You didn't give your final words.
My final words is, let's push against the chaos. Come together as a country, as a community, as a people. as a family.
Yeah.
You know, and as I mentioned earlier, for our as you mentioned, Crystal, for the generations to come, we have to come together because, again, I said the border crisis is the biggest crisis of our lifetime, right? It's the biggest issue. There is so much surrounding this border: crime, the changing of our country, the illegality of it. It's all the foreign actors coming in and doing all types of things to our country, to our children, to our everything. So we need to come together and push back against it and vote them out.
Vote them out, write them out. We do have one more super chatter. Stewart's mom, the last minute, $10. Thank you for Stewart's mom. God bless all of you. Love you, ladies. We love you too.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Stewart's mom. Thank you so much. We certainly appreciate you guys. Please continue the conversation once we sign off. We do check the comments and we will respond to your comments. All right. So that's all we have. Until next time, see you on Wednesday.
Yeah.